Hi and welcome. This has probably got to be one of, or not one of, but maybe my favourite chess study of all times. It's out of the book from, I will just show you, it's out of the book from Alexander Kotov, Chess Tactics. It's on the sort of beauty and imagination of chess positions that occur, that sort of thing. So here you are white, and you are to give checkmate to black in about 9 moves. I'll count them. About 10 moves. And so white is to move, and so what does white play? Now white is, if they don't watch it, going to lose, because the position is better for black. So what white plays first is the obvious move, which looks like it just gives up the pawn, is e7. Okay, so here comes e7, and then black has probably the only move really, is queen a3 check, because if something like bishop f4, then we will just queen here and end up in sort of a one endgame position with e8 equals queen or similar. So white can sort of take their choice. So we have queen a3. Anyway, all apart from that, here is queen a3 check. Now if the king just takes here, then I believe this is going to be probably a win or a draw for black. Black should be probably able to win this. My analysis will probably show that it will win it. If I take this pawn here, then it's immediately queen takes pawn check, and then the king has to go somewhere. I mean, oh no, it's not check, that's the black king. But anyway, this is probably a win for black, or maybe draw. So here we got queen a3 check. Now we have this move here. Instead of king c4, we look after our e7 pawn for one more turn with rook b4, which covers the queen from taking it on e7. So here the queen swings to a7 check. Now this is now looking like maybe the queen's going to win this this pawn after all. Although white could try this, but this is really no good, as, see, it's a new variation, as bishop f4 is really hard for white, because if ef4, then queen d4, and where does the king go? The king has to go to a c6 or c7 square. It would probably want to go here, because otherwise here is no good. But if it goes to the c6 square, black would have queen e4 check, and eventually force the king to go in front of the pawn, or maybe even lose their rook on b4 with a queen check, which could be quite nasty. But it wouldn't be any good if the queen takes the rook and then white merely queens. So that would be uncertain, let me say, just to be fair for both sides, what would happen after this. But if I look at this after the game, or after I've placed this, I will see something obvious. So I will just not go over that again because it'll muck up my score. So king c4, now we have queen e7. So here we've got the position that I'm going to help you get to the bottom of this. Now obviously here forks the queen and the king with check. And this also forks the queen, if I'm using the right word, or skewers the queen with the bishop check, and forks the queen with the king check, with the knight g6 check. And it looks like black's doing pretty well now, although it's still not exactly perfect. But here white plays something that starts to throw all their pieces to the fray. The first move, good on you if you've seen it, is, and if you've seen this position, it's also good to remember how it goes. We go knight g6 check, fg6 check, fg6. Then it's white's move, bishop f6 check, and gives away the knight and the bishop in 2 moves for white. Queen takes bishop, because anything like bishop g5 or something like that is just met with bishop e7 taking the queen, and white has a 1 game. So we have bishop f6 check, queen f6, no, wrong way round. We have knight g6 check, fg6, bishop f6 check, queen f6 check. Then we have some very, very nice moves after that. So these this pawn on f7 is no longer there, it's on g6, and the g6 pawn is off the board. Then we have a queen on f6 and pawn on g6, king on h4 of course, and pawn on h5, bishop h6. We then play a very nice move for white, and if you were able to play this over the board, you would win a brilliancy prize. After the queen is on f6, because if we play it too early, then the queen would just take the rook. So after bishop f6 check, knight g6, fg6, bishop f6, queen f6, king to d5, discovery check. Now if the bishop goes to f4 after that, then we just merely have rook takes f4 check, and we're attacking the queen of course, and so we're either going to take the queen and have a 1 endgame after king moves to g5. Are we? Yep. And then we've got a 1 king and pawn endgame. We've got 3 pawns versus these 2 pawns here. So after king d5, black plays really the most sensible move is king g5. Then how does white continue? White then continues with h4, remembering that the queen is on f6, so the king cannot go to f6 and g7 or the like. So the king is hit with this check with h4, which is protected by the rook and unable to be taken by the black forces. So the king then has to move to somewhere where it can move, which is king to f5. Then we have a very nice move again, sacrificing something else. Not so much as before. We then have g4, which sacrifices the pawn on g2 to g4 check, which forces, because the rook is defending the pawn on g4, hg4, because the king cannot move anywhere than to take this pawn, so that forces that. Then we have another move, good on you if you can see this. We have another move thereafter, sacrificing yet again. So if you want a clue, then hang on, it's coming. But if you don't want a clue, then I suggest you pause this if you haven't seen this before ever. Then you have a sacrifice of the rook. Now the sacrifice of the rook is to f4, and that's giving the rook up for the bishop on h6 to take. And then very bad for white would be then to play ef4, because it's going to be a huge advantage to black of checkmate. I mean, it's going to be a huge advantage for black that they will win the game, no doubt. So after rook f4 check, the only move for black is bishop f4, taking the rook. And then we have the finale, the very nice move e4. So I hope that wasn't too long. So here we go. We have knight g6, fg6 check, bishop f6 check, queen f6, all forced. Now we have the nice move king d5, king h4 to g5. Now we have h4 check, and as you would appreciate, the pawn cannot be captured because the rook defends it. So we have king f5, then we have g4 check, then we have hg4, and now you can see that rook f4 check and forces bishop f4, and then e4 is checkmate. So here we go. Maybe one of the best checkmates ever. There are others, but this is probably one of the best checkmate combinations ever, even though we've had great things from Alekhine and the like. And the like from Alekhine. Okay, thank you.